Hello everyone! I am in the butterfly garden today and I wanted to show you something really cool that's happening with our milkweed. So this summer, to give you some background information, I kind of redid a big portion of the butterfly garden from this archway to the front. And if you're walking toward the archway toward the back of the butterfly garden, on the right hand side, I put in a lot of new plants and took out a lot of old plants. And one of the new plants I put in is milkweed. Now there are a bunch of different kinds of milkweeds, but milkweeds basically attract butterflies, and specifically monarch butterflies. But what I didn't realize was that they're attracting some other little fun critter. So I'm going to show you guys up close, but we've got ladybugs having babies all over our milkweed. So here is our first milkweed. Get you in the shade. There we go. We can see these beautiful little tiny yellow flowers. And before I show you the ladybugs, I do want to show you that these big seed pods are bursting open, and look, seeds. So hopefully we'll get more milkweed and hopefully we'll see some butterflies this spring. But this milkweed is so interesting. See down here. All right, so the little yellow bits are aphids, and ladybugs love to eat aphids. So if you can see these little black things with the orange, those are baby ladybugs. I know, weird, they don't look like it, but they are. So the baby ladybugs might be these little white bits, and then they grow and turn into these bigger ones, or those might be the eggs maybe, and they grow into these bigger. And then in their adult stage, so that's maybe their pupa stage, and then they go into this, it's really tricky to see, but they kind of stop moving, they attach themselves to the leaves, and they hunker down, metamorphosize into an adult ladybug. Isn't that interesting? So they're all over. So this plant must have come from the nursery with aphids, because I don't see them on any other plant around here. There's another one right there. But now we get, I mean, just look at that. It's covered. So now we get to see this whole life cycle of ladybugs. Now ladybugs are super good for the garden because they eat things like aphids. Now these aphids have a pointy nose that sticks into the seed pod and sucks out all the good juices, meaning kind of like rendering those seeds useless. You can't plant the seeds after they've sucked out all the juices, and they can really, really hurt plants, or they'll do that in the stems as well. So ladybugs are going to help us take care of this problem. We had talked about organic gardening earlier this year, and also the beginning of last year, if you were one of those older grades and got that lesson. But organic gardening means that you don't use any poisons or synthetic chemicals, meaning man-made chemicals in a factory to kill the bad bugs. The bad bugs, I mean bad bugs to what we think is bad, right? The bad bug in this case would be those aphids, right, eating our milkweed. But instead of putting poison on it and killing the aphids and then also maybe killing all the other bugs in the area, nature is doing its thing and inviting those ladybugs in to take care of the problem, which is so cool. So we don't have to use any poisons on the garden. We just have to just encourage the ladybugs. Right here is another kind of milkweed that we have in the garden. It's a different variety. I wish I could tell you what it's called, but I don't know that I can. And it's not going to have that same aphid problem because of the shape of its leaves. There's not much for the aphids to hold on to or to get, but we've got one here and one right there. And you can tell I haven't been in the butterfly garden recently. It's quite weedy, so that's what I'm going to work on today. So, after looking at the ladybugs, I have a little, not so little, butterfly garden update for you. So we are in fall still, but we're moving into winter, and it kind of feels like we're skipping fall altogether this year, where the leaves are turning red, but it's really cold and they should have been falling earlier, but our noses are running. So I hadn't been working in the butterfly garden for about a month, and oh, I've got some milkweed fuzz on me. Hello, milkweed fuzz. And because of that, the butterfly garden got super overgrown. Now, along the path, there's this beautiful rock wall that I had exposed over the summer. But if you don't work in the butterfly garden for a month, then things grow over it and it's a whole mess. So I'm going to show you what I've done today and the big bin that I've filled, and I'll show you kind of like a before and after of this place behind me, which we call the mound. And then I will give you an update on the mound. I forgot to take the video before of the wall. So you don't get a before, but you do get an after. And then the mound area I will show you now, and then I'll show you what I've done on the other archway. You can see we've got some super long blackberry vines. Now the good thing is they don't have thorns, but I do still need to trim them back. This little guy needs to be trimmed back because he's in our walkway, and you can tell the mound is overgrown. So not a lot of weeds, which is a good thing, but all the plants do need to be trimmed back. So this penstemon needs to be trimmed back because we've just got all of our winter branches. Our leaves have fallen off. This is a butterfly bush. I'm just going to do what's called deadheading. And you basically pinch off or cut off just the dead flower heads. We've got, there's so much in here. We've got some yarrows tucked in here, I know that. We've got some heathers. We've got our Mexican sage, which still looks beautiful, so I won't even deal with that. Looks like some bulbs are starting to come up. Our alyssums are looking lovely, but you can see there's quite a few bits of grass, especially right in there. And then right here, this is the sweet pea vine that is, or wild pea vine that is not edible. So if you ever see a seed pod, don't eat it, but they're super invasive. So I'm gonna have to really clean up this area. And then I'm just gonna do some raking with these leaves and you can see we get some vines. This is more of that wild pea, sweet pea, whatever we want to call it. And it gets all a little mildewy and then it turns brown and it doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to trim in through here. So you can see things got a little out of hand since I've been gone. That's your before. And I will get you a clean after. Is that beautiful rock wall that extends all the way to the front of the garden. And you can see I've cleared it. This was completely overgrown all the way down. You know, it'd go from the wall all the way maybe 12 inches, about a foot, into the walkway. So cleared that up. I need to give these grasses a haircut. You can see over here. Oh, it looks so fresh. I'm gonna do some sweeping, but look, we've got a haircut so we can walk through the path all nice and neat. And then up this direction, all of these ground cover vines started to cover the brick. And the brick, I really want there, one, to be exposed, to be shown, but I also really want it to be a reminder to me that when I see the plants over here like this start to grow over the brick, that I know I need to trim them back or else they're gonna get crazy. So that's what I've done there. Trimmed all that back. You can see it looks so much cleaner going that direction. Another thing that I thought you guys might like, Miss Darcy in room 5 called my name and said, "Miss Adrian, what do I do with this pumpkin?" And I said, "Let's throw it in the butterfly garden." So it doesn't have any seeds, so we won't have to worry about getting pumpkin vines over here, but the squirrels and the plants, not the plants, the squirrels and the bugs will love to eat it, and then once it decomposes, if you guys remember decomposition, where it breaks down, then that's going to add lots of nutrients to this area. And then over here, this is a perfect example. See all this brown? That's all that sweet pea, wild pea vine. So it's beautiful in the spring when it's all green and it gets these, you know, flowers about this big that are beautiful and purple magenta, but then come winter time or summertime, it doesn't look very beautiful. So I'm going to be taking lots of that out. I thought you guys might find kind of funny. We had an oak tree that was super, super, super tall here and didn't quite fit the the view. It didn't quite work. And so we had one of our friends of our school, her name is Selma, she helped cut it down. But look who's back. This is an oak. So the oak, instead of growing up, is growing out, which I think is kind of funny. But it works better because then it's going to be the size of the manzanita and we won't have to worry about it being too tall. Here's the after. Swept all the leaves up here and trimmed back. Hopefully it'll come across on camera, but see, I've got my pile over there. A lot less going on, a lot more trimmed. Hopefully you guys could either come with one of your teachers or your parents when you're being picked up to check it out. And there's it all clean through there.